I am so excited for our second online card class that I'm doing with all of you guys. I know normally I'm not on in the evenings, but these card classes are always in the evenings to accommodate all of you guys, hopefully. And hopefully it's not too late for all of my East Coasters, or I guess too early for all my West Coasters. I am just going to pull this up to make sure everything is working correctly on my phone, just to see that this is working. And let's see. This will also kind of give you guys a little bit of time to jump on. So if you're on, give me a little shout out. Say hello. Let's see. Of course, my phone is being weird. We are supposed to get snow tonight, but otherwise there's no crazy things going on with the weather like there was last month. So hopefully it stays that way too. I know by doing this on my phone too, I'll be able to see comments a little bit more like live. Hi Denise, hi Diane, welcome. So excited to have you guys on. So excited for the Rainbows of Happiness online card class. The kits for this class are sold out, but you can still purchase the PDF tutorial. And that actually you can do as an instant download. So if you want to go hurry up and do that really quickly, you're more than welcome to, or you can always get that later. That way you don't have to watch this and take notes or anything like that. But the PDF download does have a list of all the supplies used. It does have all the measurements for all of the cardstock pieces, as well as step-by-step instructions and color photos of the 5 cards that we are doing tonight. So you can check that out if you go to etsy.com/shop/Laura's Stamp Pad. So same as my Facebook page here as Laura's Stamp Pad with 2 S's and 2 P's. So yeah, you can check me out there and get that PDF tutorial. There's also a link in the description box if you are looking at that, and you can see the option for that PDF tutorial there as well. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in and get started, just so that I'm not keeping you guys all forever. So if you did get the card kit and you are following along, I'm so excited. And even if you did get the card kit, you don't have to follow along tonight if you don't feel like stamping tonight or don't have everything out or anything like that. But you can still follow along, or you can always stamp at your leisure. So if you did get the card kit, here is the supplies that you got. There is a strip of the iridescent rhinestones, which are stunning, and I love them. I did give you plenty of those, so you can use it on any card that you want. I embellished some and didn't embellish others, but you can embellish as you wish for any of the cards. And then here are the 5 card packs. Of course, we are using the Rainbow of Happiness stamp set, which is in the new January to June mini catalog. So the Rainbows of Happiness stamp set, as well as the Brilliant Rainbow dies. We will be using all of the dies except for the clouds, actually. I know that sounds so weird, but I guess all of my rainbows are beautiful and fabulous, and there's no clouds in my way of my rainbows. Hello, Colleen. Welcome. I'm so excited to have all of you guys. How are you doing on weather up there in Michigan? Like I said, I know we're getting snow. It's supposed to start like sometime this evening. It's kind of going to start as rain and then move over to snow because we're kind of in that in-between area. But I know like up north they're getting more snow. I have a friend in South Dakota, and I think she said this morning they had like 7 inches-ish. So yeah, I know it's kind of coming. Claire cannot wait. So yeah, let's hope that there is something on the ground in the morning, or she's going to be very disappointed. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The first one that I'm going to do is, I was like, where's the blue one? I accidentally have two of this one. So yeah, it's actually this set. So yeah, I'm going to start with this blue one here. This is Misty Moonlight. You're missing all the snow, but it's cold. Yeah, I bet your idea of cold is a lot colder than my idea of cold because it gets quite chilly up there. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and fold our Misty Moonlight in half as our regular card base, using the bone folder for that nice strong crease there. And then we have our designer series paper. This is the Sunshine and Rainbows designer paper that you can get as a celebration item. And it's got the beautiful yellow on the back side. But we're actually going to be using that blue background with the rainbows. And this is just going to adhere right on the front of the card. And this actually has only 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I always kind of look at 3 sides, and if the 3 sides are good, then I go ahead and like lay it down, and that 4th side surely is okay after I have those other 3 sides ready to go. And then the other piece, this is like the little leftover piece at the bottom. This piece and the So Saffron are going to be used on the inside of the card. So then we have our rainbow stripe piece and our Whisper White. I'm going to use the little rainbow die, and let me bring in my little mini cut and emboss. And that rainbow, really, it's going to go like side to side, and then it can go anywhere, sort of up and down. As long as there's enough room to stamp the greeting, it can go in the center, it can go towards the top, it can go pretty much anywhere. So I mostly just focus on the side to side, that it is like centered, if you will. What did everyone have for supper tonight? We had lasagna, and we normally eat around 5 o'clock, and I know that's like super early, but with the kids it just works out well, and I actually don't mind eating early, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, I was assembling, I had all my ingredients and everything ready, and I was assembling the lasagna and realized I didn't have mozzarella cheese. So that was kind of crazy. Claire came to say good night. Do you want to say good night to all of our friends?
Hi.
Hi. Say good night.
Hi.
Okay, enjoy your books with Daddy, okay?
Yeah.
You can take that with you if you want.
I don't make it.
Okay.
Make it.
Give me a big hug and kiss.
No, make it.
I am. I'm making it. I'm making this card. Okay. Say night-night.
Can I take it with me?
No, that's my sample card. So we can't take that with, but you can take these little rainbows with you.
No, I don't like it.
Okay, you don't have to.
Can I take a toy up?
Yeah.
No.
Over here.
Night-night. I love you. Oh, Claire, they all say good night. All of our friends say good night.
Good night.
So actually we're not doing anything with all these little white ones, and I do have a lot of them die cut. I almost feel like I could sponge them with the color and make rainbow colors, or I could do something with them as white, but I have yet to come up with that. So if you have any ideas, then let me know in the comments. Okay, so we have our little rainbow. Now we're going to use our Magenta Madness. Hi, Carol. Well, I'm glad because she really likes to jump in here and talk to people. She always says, are you going to go downstairs and stamp with your friends? And then she always gets really excited if there's real people here. But she even gets excited whenever you guys are online as well. So now I'm just going to stamp my greeting down here. You make me happy. And then this piece actually goes on flat on our card. And since it's just a 1/4 inch less than the white, you don't have to worry about like lining it up perfectly. So we're just going to kind of center this towards the top of our card. You could center it completely, but I kind of centered it like, towards the top. And then I'm just going to add this piece on with Stampin' Dimensionals, and that helps give a nice like 3D effect where it's got that like rainbow in the background. Hi Karen, welcome. No snow for you as you're in Florida and I'm jealous. Send some warm weather this way and sunshine, please. Real people. Yeah. I mean, I know you guys are all real. But live in person people. It's so funny because anytime Claire comes down here, if my laptop is open, it doesn't matter what it is open to, but if my laptop is open here and she gets in my chair, then she says, "Hi friends." And I'm like, there's no one there. Like we're not doing a live. So that's always super fun. But yeah, like anytime she'll say like, "Do you have friends in the basement?" I'm so afraid she's going to like tell her teacher at school that mommy keeps friends in the basement or something. And they're going to think I've like kidnapped someone or something. I don't know. I'm sure the teachers hear it all at schools. Apparently Claire told her teacher last week that we're having a baby. No, we are not. And she told her teacher this week that we're getting married. And we're already married. But I think I'd rather her tell them that we're getting married than that we're having another baby. So then on the inside of the card, I did a little more stamping. I actually stamped the little hearts from the stamp set all down the side. So I'm just going to kind of stamp and kind of like move a little like in, out, just for a little variation in the pattern so it doesn't look so like perfectly up and down. But yeah, anytime you're making lasagna, don't forget the mozzarella cheese because that's kind of an important factor. So Brad and Claire ran to the store very quickly. Brad said that he put her on his shoulders and that's how he ran in and out of the store quickly. And it worked. He was there and back in 20 minutes. And I said, "So did people give you any like funny faces?" And he's like, "People smiled at me." And he's like, "I think they understood. Like we needed to get through the store quickly." Because of course, here in the Midwest, or at least in Illinois, anytime snow is even mentioned by a meteorologist, everybody freaks out, runs to the store and gets milk, eggs, and bread because apparently everyone makes French toast. And yeah, like, I mean, sell out of the grocery store on all of that. I almost stamped this greeting upside down. This is a little something to brighten your day. And that just goes right in the center. And then now this piece goes on the inside of our card. So yeah, I'm sure the store was completely empty. Thank goodness they had the cheese though. Claire also remembers everything from the last online class that I had. And whenever we told her that Mommy had to work tonight and do her online class, she said, "Can I go sit downstairs like we did last time with the storm?" And I'm like, no, there's not going to be a storm, or at least I hope not. So it's so funny that this one has a lot of green in it and then this one doesn't. So it has like two totally different looks with this card. But yeah, super cute. This one I actually did not embellish with the rhinestones, but you're welcome to embellish with them if you wish. And there is card number 1. Super, super cute. That's one of the more easier ones. Actually, I don't even know if I could say that it's easy or not easy. I think that, like, I would say maybe the one is hard, but actually at the class that I did with this, that wasn't the one that I thought was hard. It was not the one everybody else thought was hard. So, who knows? We'll just have to see. Let me pull this one out of the plastic so there's no crazy glare. But this is card number 2. So we have the card packet that looks like this. And we're going to go ahead and pull all of our pieces out. Oh, we can't forget to stamp a little on the envelope. So for that last one, we're just going to stamp a few of those hearts. I'm going to stamp some on that back lip.
Mommy.
Thank you. It's time to go read stories. Okay, night-night.
Mommy, can I get one toy?
Yeah, here you go. You can take the mousey back.
Come on.
Okay. I love you. Night-night. Okay, so we're just going to stamp some of those hearts. I think I'm going to go ahead. I am like super off center, so I'm going to go all the way across. I kind of was just going to do a few in the center, but I was super off center. So all the way across it is. And then maybe one in the corner on the front. So there is our envelope as well as the first card. A few little hearts down there in the front. Yes, I'm glad that you remember, Carol. It's always tricky. She's definitely very routine, and we usually like tag team a lot of it. Like we both read a story, and like then it's, you know, the good nights and the big hugs and kisses and stuff. And so she's off routine. So now it's like she doesn't know what step to do next. And then like she's probably a little early than she normally is. So then you kind of have this like dead time that you're trying to just make up time until she gets to that point of ready to fall asleep. That is all Brad. Me, I could like sit down for 5 minutes and I'm going to fall asleep. Alex is kind of like that way. So me and Alex are that way, and Claire definitely needs that wind down time and everything. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do for this card is we're going to take the little dots image and stamp the dots randomly all over the background of the card. Mango Melody. This is crazy. There's Magenta Madness and Mango Melody. And so I'm just always trying to get the right name. And I'm just rotating this image around so it doesn't look so like repetitive exactly, and instead it looks, you know, like random and all over. And make sure you fall off the edge of the card, because then that's going to make it look like the pattern is continuous and not so like contained to the card front. And technically there's like a swatch in the middle that's not going to be seen because that's where our like focal point is going to be. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in the whole thing just so that I'm not missing a spot. Okay, so there we have that. That's probably what I'm going to do for my envelope. So we'll just do the little dots on the lip of the envelope. And one down in the corner. So the lip of the envelope, I just did those same dots and then just down in the corner, down front. And now we're going to take that Whisper White piece and we're gonna run it through with the like rainbow or scallop border die. So this one, even though it's super long, it still fits in the mini. Again, love the mini for that. And actually, I have some Post-it note tape on the ends, and that's just to hold it in place. But I pretty much just put it like with the bumps flush with the bottom of that white. So down there. And then all the ones that I did, one of them happened to move on me and it ended up going diagonal. So let's hope this one doesn't move on me and die cut diagonally. So yeah, what else did everybody have for dinner tonight? We had lasagna. It was amazing. And we actually had chicken Alfredo lasagna rather than like a red sauce and hamburger. I am a huge fan of Alfredo, and I'm not a huge fan of, you know what? It did move on me. Well, bummer. We'll see if it's really that crooked. The big telltale sign of it being crooked is whenever I add the designer paper. And it super looks crooked. Let's see if I have another piece of this. And of course I don't. Okay, I'm gonna cut one. Live class right here of the chaos of what happens whenever you make a boo-boo. So this is 2 1/4. So don't worry, even I make mistakes as well. And that's okay. It happens. And if I wasn't such a perfectionist, I probably wouldn't mind because it's not that far off. But it's a little. So I'm going to redo it. Okay. All the little like mini white arches. I don't know if I can call them rainbows when they're all white. Okay. Setting the die down. Or setting the cardstock down. Setting the die down. And maybe I had it too close to the edge and that's why it bumped. Okay. This time, don't move. I'm also going to like hold it as it goes through so there's that extra added pressure. And this is probably why I feel like I always get so nervous for the live class. But you know what? It's okay. We all make mistakes. And that time came out fabulous. Okay. So you can always use a die brush, but you can also use the Take Your Pick tool to pop out any additional ones that are stuck in there still. The poker end of the Take Your Pick tool. Okay, so there are 3 pieces, like 3 strips of the designer series paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use 2 for the front and pull my hair off. And so this one's going to go like with a nice little white border down towards the bottom. before those scallops. And then the other one is going to go with the blue to the bottom. Actually, that one I didn't. Maybe I shouldn't do the blue to the bottom. I was going to say for a more seamless look, but we don't have to do that. And I actually overlapped them just a hair. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. The scallop edge does really jazz it up. And you know, it doesn't necessarily look rainbow-ish. It really just looks scalloped. So there's just a little hair of some extra. And I'm using the edge of the Whisper White to help with that. Apparently this is a lot smaller than 2 1/4 because I have more of a border on this one, but that's okay. We're going with it. And now we're just going to add this to the card front. This does go flush to the edge, side to side. And it kind of goes like towards the bottom, like 1/3 of our card. And press. And then we also have a piece of Flirty Flamingo. And we're going to use the die that's like a tag with the little rainbow pieces at the top. So let's bring back in our mini and die cut this one out. I got a new plate for the class, so that one's kind of my like used plate, but this one's all clear and pretty and see-through still. It's always kind of exciting whenever you get out a new plate and you can actually see through it, but it's also a little like nerve-wracking whenever you like run it through and then it's like it's never clean again. It's already gooked up a little with all of the images from tonight. And again, we're just going to kind of run our finger through those and they pop out really easily. Okay, so the best way to add this pool party sheer ribbon on the back, I simply just took a little bit of adhesive and added it to the top of my little tag and folded my ribbon in half and pressed it into that. And then now I'm just going to add dimensionals over the top of all of this. So you guys know I'm a dimensional over user. So dimensionals up top. I'm actually going to add a 3rd dimensional up top over that ribbon just to secure it really well. And there. I feel like I need like a little in the middle since I have so much up top. So I'm just going to cut a little border piece to go down here. Peel off the back of the dimensionals. Hey Cindy, welcome. That's so weird that you're having troubles with the video breaking up. Let me know if anybody else is having any troubles. The only thing I could think of would be like an internet connection or something. So then I just trimmed that ribbon so that it has the pointed edge. And then I'm adding it to the card front like a little like diagonal. Just like off to the left, a little diagonal. And then there's the little bitty white square. And that little bitty white square, we're going to stamp the greeting. You make this world a better place. It's fine there. Okay, thanks, Diane. And then just going to add this to that Flirty Flamingo tag. And then for the inside of the card, I simply added that 3rd strip of that designer series paper to the strip of Pool Party and put it on the inside of our card. I have gotten really excited and started doing this like so much now. And that is rather than always using, you'll also have to trim off because this piece is 4 inches and this one or I'm sorry, 5 1/4, and this one is the full 5 1/2. And I didn't want to like mix it up and have you guys add the wrong one to the front and not to the inside. So you just snip off the little extra there. But in the past, I've always just added like the vanilla or the white to the inside as like my piece to write on. And now I've started adding like lighter shades of colored cardstock, and I love it. Like, come on, how beautiful is that? Now, white would be fabulous too, and it would certainly pop. But that's just, it's so super cute. And this one, I did actually do some bling on the front. So we're just gonna take the Take Your Pick tool and add a few of these in varying sizes, because why not? And whenever I use the Take Your Pick tool, I use the putty tip, and I simply just press on the side of the jewel, set it down, and then like kind of rotate out, or put my finger there and pull the Take Your Pick tool off. So it just makes it so much easier. I'll try to like slow it down for the next one, since I totally didn't slow it down for that one. And there we have card number 2 with our coordinating envelope. So which one are you guys loving so far? The first one with the rainbow die cut, or card number 2? Let me know in the comments. Okay. Gonna try to clean up just a hair so that I don't end up with my elbow in an ink pad. Because we all know that that's probably gonna happen before it's all said and done. Okay, so here is our next one. So believe it or not, a lot of people at my class said that this card was the hardest one. But then like everybody was so scared of this one. But then after they did it, they said it really wasn't that bad. So I just have to say that if you are intimidated by this one, don't worry, it's not that bad. So for this one, we're going to use 3 ink pads. We're using the Mango Melody, Bermuda Bay, and Magenta Madness. And we're going to be cleaning the ink pad, or the stamps, a lot. So that's kind of like to me, that's the hardest part of this one, is making sure to not ink up the wrong one with the wrong color without cleaning it. You like the second one better than the first one? Okay, well, we'll see what you think about the third one. So we have our Magenta Madness card base. We're just going to fold that in half. Use the bone folder for that nice strong crease. Handy dandy tool there. And then we're going to get out our small piece of Whisper White. So there's the inside panel, which is like the full panel, and then there's the smaller strip. So we're going to get that smaller strip. And I have found that it's easiest to stamp the center rainbow first, and to start with the largest bow of the rainbow as your first one, because the other ones kind of fit in. So you know if you have the largest one, then you're good with that. So I'm starting with the center one, which has the greeting, sending you a rainbow of happiness. And so that one, we're going to center it side to side as well as up and down. And then we're going to stamp the others. So then we're going to get the medium one. Whoop. Oh, I have rhinestones going everywhere because it was stuck to a stamp. Oh, and that one lost its sticky. Oh, no. Okay. So then we have our middle one. There is one of the rainbows that we aren't using. And that is the like largest one and the like dashed line one. So the largest one we're actually not using, and the dash line we're not using. You're more than welcome to use either of those. Actually, not the largest one, it wouldn't fit. But you're welcome to use the dash one if you wish to. So we're gonna go with the medium, and then the medium is in the Mango Melody. And that just goes right in inside that one. Thank goodness for photopolymer stamps, because you can see where you're stamping. Of course, you could always line this up in your Stamparatus for a nice, perfect look every time. Why do I feel like there's green on that stamp? Hold on. Nope, we're good. I'm crazy. Okay. And then now we actually need to clean them. So like I said, this card, there's a lot of cleaning in between. We technically don't need to clean the words because I won't be using those again, but why not clean up a little? Okay, so now we're just gonna go to the top and to the bottom. So we'll start with the top one. And I'm doing mine exactly like my sample, just so I don't have to think about which color I haven't used or need to use or whatever it is. So then this one's just gonna go above it, and it's mostly just side to side that you really need to like worry about now. So there's that one. Middle one is in Bermuda Bay. And the smallest one is in Magenta Madness. One of the other things that I will tell you is that these are super like solid, smooth stamps. If you have problems where the ink is not like picking up on a certain spot of that rainbow, especially if this is the first time you're using your stamp set, then I suggest like cleaning them on your chamois. Just to kind of get off any sort of potential residue that might be on them from manufacturing. So sometimes, you know, like there's a little bit of oil or something on there that is making it not pick up the ink. So you can always clean your stamp first. Like some of my solid ones like that, the first time I use them, I like rough them up and clean them and stamp and stamp, 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 stamp on like a scrap piece, rough them up and clean them again to kind of help pick up the ink. Another option is to use a foam mat. This might be your paper piercing mat. This might be the foam mat that goes in the Stamparatus. You can always use that to also get a nice like smooth look on your stamped image. The foam has like just a little hint of give, so it helps really push in all spots of that image. Because as you know, our the Stampin' Up! Red rubber, oh, wrong color, this one goes in Magenta Madness. Our red rubber stamps have that foam already in them, and so it has that cushion to give, but the photopolymer stamps don't have that. So that's why sometimes stamping on the foam actually helps. I know there's a lot of stampers who have this foam mat out for all their stamping, and that's certainly okay as well. So just a little tip when stamping solid images like that to make sure that your stamp is nice and clean, and then also you can use some foam for that. So you can see these two are a little tight right here, and this one's not, but I'm just going to add some jewels in this area down here to help with that that look of looking like they're a little off. So now I'm just adding adhesive to the left-hand side, a strip of adhesive to the left-hand side, and bringing in that Mango Melody strip. And just, like, you can add as much of a border as you want. So you can do, like, a little skinny border. You can do a big wide border, however much you want. That goes on the left-hand side. And then we have a little piece of Bermuda Bay. And there is that scallop image that's in the die set. And we're just going to die cut this little scallop. you could technically get like 2 of these scallops out of this piece of Bermuda Bay that's in your kit. So if you wish to really be frugal, then you could do that. If you're wondering what I mean when I'm referencing the kit, that is the pre-cut cards set kit that I had. All of them are sold out. So they definitely, like last month, they sold out as well. I don't like necessarily intend to always have them sell out, especially sell out as early as they do. But I'm still kind of trying to gauge how many people are excited about these classes. So stay tuned and order early is all I have to say for that. So this die, it's actually like a die of scallop up top, but then it can go as long as it needs to, which is great to have a little extra because you don't necessarily want the scallop to just peek out because it would be hard to adhere it underneath a piece. So I just trimmed the extra there so that I can then add that to the card. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive to the right hand side. And then I'm going to place this scallop there. And again, you can have as much or as little scallop showing as you wish. And then now just add full adhesive to the back. And it goes onto our card front. And then I'm going to bring back in those rhinestones and my take your pick tool and show you guys what I mean. So like here's the one that he lost his little adhesive backing. I'm going to set him over here to use. Anytime you have one lose their adhesive backing, then you can always take a mini glue dot. And I'm just going to place the mini glue dot right here, peel off the back of it, and recover our little rhinestone. Boom! And that's how you fix a rhinestone who popped off his back and you can't get it up. Okay, so here's my putty. I'm just gonna like push like a bulldozer. So I'm just gonna push on the side, pick it up, set it down, and sort of like kind of come back out of it. The other thing that you can do is you can pick it up, set it down, set your finger like on it, and then, you know, pull it away. So then that kind of takes away the spacing right there. That's a little different. And then for the inside, I just took that other strip of designer paper and added it to the Whisper White there. So we're just going to take this. I added it to the left-hand side. There's a little like white border there on the edge, but you can either leave a white border or you can make it go flush with the edge. And then this goes to the inside of our card. Okay, you need to go to bed. Whoop, that's the sample. I love you. Night-night. So here is card number 3, although we probably should do some sort of little rainbow. I don't remember what the last color. This one's yellow. So we'll go ahead and we'll just do a little rainbow down here on the envelope. This one's pink. And that must mean that the last one is blue. I prefer going biggest to littlest because I didn't know how much space I really needed off to the side. Whereas when you do the big one, you know the rest of them are going to fit in the arch of it. So, yeah, it's always easier to do biggest to smallest so that I didn't run off the edge. That's why I scooted as far over as I did. And I feel like I perfectly nailed that one. It was a little nervous. But yeah, there is our coordinating envelope to our sending you a rainbow of happiness card. and the inside of the card with some of that designer paper on the inside. So that is card number 3. You guys are all quiet tonight. Are you guys all stamping along with me, or are we falling asleep? And if you can't keep up and I'm going too fast, don't worry. I will be, of course, having this here. You can rewatch it anytime you want here on Facebook, but I'll also be posting it on my YouTube channel as well. Okay, so the next one that I grabbed is actually what I thought was the hardest one. Stamping with me? Yay, that's exciting. So I thought this one was going to be the hardest one, but that's not what everybody else was saying, so I don't know. Let's see. I think I'm done with Bermuda Bay, so I'm going to close that ink pad as to not make any sort of messes. So this is the crazy funky one, but it all comes together. Watching intently. Hi, Susan. Hi, Karen. Oh, you guys are all fabulous. Okay, so this one, we're going to start with our Magenta Madness, and we're going to fold that in half. And this is just a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11, just like the other is 8.5 by 11 in the other way, going, I don't know, landscape or portrait, depending on which way you're kind of like looking at the paper, I guess. So we have a nice little tent or mountain, if you will, large mountain. So this is our card base. Now we're going to take the Bermuda Bay piece and do that same thing and make a little mountain. This piece is just a hair smaller than our Magenta Madness main card base. So what I want you to do now is we're going to adhere this to the front of our Magenta Madness, but we're going to put it flush with the bottom of the card front. So there's a nice 3-way border on 3 sides, and it's flush with the bottom on the 4th side. The other thing is our mountain is upside down. So we're kind of creating a Z here. So you can see this one is like a tent, and this one is like a valley, mountain valley. Are you there? Okay. So we're just going to add adhesive to the entire back of our Bermuda Bay, and with it opening to the top, we're going to put it flush with the bottom of our card front. Okay, so now we have our little tent, and it's a Z. So here's our original card front tent, and then we have this open flap here. And it's flush with the bottom. And then now we're going to take this front flap and just fold it down in half. And now we have our big mountain and our little mountain. Big mountain, little mountain. Magenta Madness mountain and Bermuda Bay mountain. And now it's time to just assemble everything. So we have our large piece of designer series paper. And with that one, it is going to go flush with the crease down here. And then it's going to have a nice 3-way border of Bermuda Bay. So again, flush with the bottom of the crease down there. and nice 3-way border. And then we're going to take that same piece of designer paper, but we're going to flip it over and use the yellow side and add that to the layering Whisper White. And then add that to the front of our Bermuda Bay Baby Mountain. And of course, the other piece of Whisper White goes on the inside of the card. And that third piece of designer series paper can go on the inside. And I just kind of did it like in the center on the left-hand side. So just like that. So if you notice, this uses almost the entire piece of 6x6 designer series paper because you're using that big panel. This is a piece of the leftover that's like up top. And then you're also using that little strip there. So same sheet, and we're using both the front and the back, which is awesome. Sometimes it's really hard for me to decide which side of the designer series paper to use. And this helps with that because I'm using both of them. Okay, so now we have some ribbon left over and we have this little bitty banner piece. So you can actually use the banner pick a banner punch, which has the banner tips here or the inverted banner tip. So you can use that. If you don't have that punch, no worries. I'm gonna show you another little tip. You can simply cut up in the center. So a straight line up in the center of this piece, and this can be any sort of banner tips on any size of card. Up in the center, and then from the corner to that center cut line. From the corner to that center cut line. And then just gotta get that last little triangle out. There we go. By doing that center cut, it gives you a focal point to go to the middle, and that way you're not like going like really far off on one side and really shallow on the other side, and that helps you get that awesome banner tip. So if you don't have the punch, you can always do that little technique for your banner tips. Okay, this I think might need to be washed. This is the greeting, "You make this world a better place." And I'm doing that in the Magenta Madness. And I'm going to do that as close to the bottom, like to those banner tips, as I can so that I have room for my ribbon and my bow up higher. So it doesn't have to be like super far down, just don't put it super at the top. And there's also a chance that you might want to trim off a little bit at the top, depending on how much. So whenever I use this punch, it actually takes off more at the bottom than doing it with this technique. So I don't know, does it fit? It actually fits. I think I'm gonna leave it alone. So I'm gonna leave that alone and just add that to my card front. And it goes on the baby mountain. And I did mine flush with the top of that yellow designer paper. But you could also do it flush with the white or flush with the Bermuda Bay Mountain. And then now, are you guys ready to have your minds blown to make this cute little bow with a fork? I still have this one left over, but this is what it looks like at the end. This little bow is ready to be taken off and used. And see how tiny it is? I find that the only way to get a tiny little bow like this is by doing it with a fork. So, thank goodness I have purple forks because my clear fork just really doesn't show very well on camera. So you're going to take your ribbon. This is the white crinkled seam binding. And I am right-handed. If you're left-handed, I think you should be able to do this the same way, but I have no clue because God put your arms on wrong and left-handers are crazy. That's only because Brad's left-handed and I like to make fun of him. But Clara's left-handed as well, so I'm like, I don't know. Ask Daddy how to do this because I don't know how to do it. So anyway, we're just going to have a short little tail on the left-handed side. That is going to be the tail of our bow. And we're going to wrap the ribbon around the fork. Okay? Slide it up just a hair and put that piece that wrapped around through those center tines of the fork. And then slide it all the way back down again. Because we want to make sure that our bow is as big as the bottom of the fork rather than the top of the fork. So this is what it looks like, where this piece is hanging here and this piece goes through and around, and then this one comes over the top and through those center tines. And then that piece that you put through the center tines is going to come up and through the center tines. So now both of them are at the front of the fork, if you will. Now you can set the fork down and you're simply just going to tie a knot with the two ends. Okay? Nothing fancy. You don't even have to do a double knot, just a single knot, just tied tight with those ends. And then when you pull it off the fork, you can simply pull a little bit tighter if you need to, but you're going to actually pull the ends tight and not the loops of the bow. And then pull the little ends down just to kind of make them lay flat. And then, I don't know where my mini glue dots went. Oh, here they are. And I'm just going to add a mini glue dot to the center right above that greeting and press the bow into it. And then trim my little tails. I don't know why I always call ribbon tails. I don't really think they're tails, but that's okay. And then this card, I actually did 5 of those gorgeous rhinestones. So I did 2 down here and then 3 up top. So we're going to grab the Take Your Pick tool, push to the side, plop it down, push to the side. I don't know. Plop it down. Push to the side. Let's get one of these bigger ones. And there's our 5 rhinestones to really bling it up. And there's that double mountain card. You got a boo-boo? Okay. I love you. I'll be upstairs soon. It hurts. Daddy will kiss you, boo-boo. Okay. Go on. I love you. Oh, geez. Okay, so that, oh wait, we have to stamp our envelope. This one just has a greeting on the front, so I really don't know what to stamp it with. Should I stamp it with the greeting? Should I stamp it with some of those hearts? I don't know what to stamp it with. Maybe I'll leave this one alone. I don't know. I feel like this one, I don't have the coordinating image. Oh, I'll be sure to let her know. Now she says she has a boo-boo and she needs a Band-Aid, but she always has a boo-boo. But Band-Aids and kisses make everything better, and that's what we've always said. So we go through a lot of Band-Aids too. Although it's not as bad lately. Not to say that the boo-boos aren't still there, but the need for a Band-Aid aren't always there. I think probably because now it's not so much a scrape, but a bruise. I guess at school she wasn't paying attention while walking into the bathroom and just ran right into the wall and had a big knot on her head. But I'm like, oh, that sounds totally familiar. Like, she just, like, turns back to look at something while still running forward. Gotta love kids. Okay, so that is our fourth card. Did you guys think that that one was super hard? Or which one is the hardest one? Whether you're stamping along or whether you're just watching, which one do you think is the hardest one so far? And which one is your favorite? 1, 2, 3, or 4? We have plenty. She has some tie-dye ones. We just got some Sesame Street Band-Aids. We still have bug ones and another kind too. Every once in a while, whenever I see like Band-Aids for like $1 or something like that, then I'll grab them. But it just kind of depends because I don't typically shop in store. I do pickup. So it's whenever I randomly think to look on the site to be able to order. Okay, we are on our 5th and final card. How crazy is that? And we're bringing in another ink pad. We're bringing in Granny Apple Green. So I'm closing these two. And I'm going to show you guys the card that we're making. So this card uses the die that is like a half a rainbow. And it die cuts out 4 pieces all at once. And I want to let you guys know a cool little thing. In your card packet, you have all your pieces. And I actually found, you actually have, your pieces of designer series paper are bigger than this. I went ahead and gave you like the whole strip rather than cutting it down because I felt like it was just like I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So you're going to have plenty of designer paper to be able to use for this. And I'm going to show you so many cool things. So I actually did all 4 sheets of designer paper at one time with the die. And I loved it. I was so excited about that because you could either crank through 4 times or you could crank through once. Let me know which one you prefer. I think I probably know. So we're going to crank it through. And if it doesn't like line up like exactly and you think it might be close to the edge, that's okay because you're probably going to trim off the ends anyway. Okay, so I will say 4 sheets. Maybe I only did 3 sheets because I don't remember it being this tight, but okay. It still went through. Hopefully it cut and doesn't make me look like a crazy one. I must have only done 3 sheets because it easily did the 3 sheets and didn't do that 4th sheet, it doesn't look like. Okay, so it made a liar of me, and it's only 3 sheets because the 4th sheet is this one, but I have a whole bunch left over from the class, and you are going to have a whole bunch left over as well, and I'm going to show you one of the cool things that you can do with all of the pieces. Okay. So with your piece that you got in the kit, there's a whole bunch left over. Mine, I just have this little bitty amount. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, the Whisper White piece. And you can do these either the same on both ends or you can do them opposite. So I'm just going to do them opposite, and we're just going to lay down our pieces. And I didn't make them on any certain end. I literally just kind of played with it. So like I didn't put it like flush with one actual piece. I just laid it down as like a corner arch. Nope, we don't need that one. I'm going to do one of the other patterns. We don't need that one. This one's the biggest one. This one's the biggest one. I'm missing one. Oh, the middle. Nope, I don't need that. Oh, it's that light blue that I'm looking for. That didn't completely die cut. Oh, wait. That one goes there. This one goes here. And then we need light blue in the medium, which I don't seem to have, but I'm going to use a large and it'll work just fine. Okay, so there we have all of our pieces, and we still have a whole bunch of pieces left. And I will show you guys what you can do with some of your leftover pieces. You can either make more of this card, or you can flip them all over and do a feminine looking card, which I just realized this one only has 3 and this one has 4. And I don't think I did that on purpose. But the back side of this designer paper has all like more, you know, pinks and more feminine colors to it. So you could do this card, die cut your 4 pieces of designer series paper with the 4 different sizes, and then mix and match the pieces, and you can get both a boy birthday card and a girl birthday card. So now we're just going to take those and adhere each of them down. And I guess my little tip is to only die cut 3 at a time instead of all 4. And I'm letting the ends hang off. And I'm just going to go ahead and after I'm done adhering them, I'm going to use the edge of the white paper as my guide to trim off the extra, which is why you don't want to adhere this to the Misty Moonlight until after you've done this layer. I feel nervous doing the big one first on this one, because now I just need to make sure I have enough room for all the other ones. The other thing is there in the middle, you're going to have your greeting, and so it's okay if it doesn't look like perfect, because that greeting is going to help like take away some of the like, oh, they don't all look perfect. Not that they are going to look perfect. Have you ever seen a perfect hand-stamped card? Made with love, not perfection. After all, if you wanted something that came off an assembly line, then you'd have to buy that one in the store. But see how there's all the beautiful pinks and everything on the back side? So now I'm just going to use the edge of the white as my guide to trim it off. Also, if you guys have been following me, you know I really struggle with masculine cards. So that's why whenever I saw this one, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the perfect masculine card. And I need a ton of masculine birthday cards. So I actually made this one a birthday card by just using one of my happy birthday greetings from my new favorite stamp set, Celebrating You. Feel free to use whatever greeting you would like for this. You can pull out any sort of stamp set you might have. and use a birthday greeting. But if you'll notice in the pink one, I actually just did a little something to brighten your day. So I still used the Rainbows of Happiness stamp set. So you can still use the Rainbows of Happiness stamp set to do a greeting for this card. Or you're always welcome to do a different greeting of your choice for this card too. So that is always an option. And I also used this punch, and you're welcome to use whatever punch that you like or that you prefer or that you have. You don't have to use this exact punch that I used. So now we're just going to layer this onto our Misty Moonlight, and there's only 1/8 of a gap around there, so it is tight. It doesn't have as much of a gap as a lot of my cards typically do. And now we have our Granny Apple Green card base. I feel like I'm going a little backwards. I went ahead and I grabbed the focal point and started with that rather than starting with folding our card base in half. Adding that to our card front. And then in your packet, I have a piece of Misty Moonlight and a piece of Whisper White. And I'm just using the punch, and I'm going to punch out one of each of these. Like I said, you can use any punch that you would like for that. You could even use a die cut that die cuts out labels or anything like that. Any of those would work. So we have our big Misty Moonlight one, and then we have our Whisper White one. I am simply going to cut from this notch to this notch all the way across to create just that center white piece. And now this layers perfectly in the center of that for that layering effect. How fabulous is that? I love layering with my punches. Like, there's so many ways that you can get that layered look with one single punch, and that's just, it's awesome. So now I'm stamping Happy Birthday onto that white piece, and I'm gonna add this to that label. And now I'm just going to take a little adhesive and add it to the back. And then we're going to place this crinkled seam binding and just wiggle it back and forth. So I'm pressing it into that adhesive, doing a loop, going back again, doing a loop, and then back to the other side. So now we just have that nice little wiggle waggle. And I'm going to trim the tails, make them diagonal, and add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of that. It's so funny. How many of you guys watch the captions or read the captions while watching this? I've never gone back and watched them, but I'm seeing them on my phone as I have that sitting here. And I'm just wondering how correct they are with what I'm actually saying. Because I know I've read captions before on other things, and they can be quite hilarious when they're like thinking you said a different word. So I'm just interested to see if they're correct or if they say some crazy things. Or maybe I'm just saying crazy things, because that happens too. And then this is just going to go on the center of our card. So as you can see, it sort of covers up some of that like weirdness in the middle that you might see. And then it looks fabulous. And then for the inside of the card, I have the piece of Pool Party. And we're just going to take that like dash stripe line. I have ribbon in my ink pad. I really don't want inky fingers on the last card. So I use the take your pick tool to grab that right off of there. So I'm just going to add lines to the top and the bottom of this piece. So that just adds a little fun look. I feel like it's quite masculine with those like striped lines. Almost like I don't know, like car tire lines or something like that. And then this piece just goes on the inside of our card. Ooh, and then those striped lines need to go on our envelope. Okay. So I just did along the bottom and along the lip with that same image. And here is card number 5. Super, super cute. Or I should say masculine, since it is our masculine colored card. Again, let me bring in that one that's like pinky, just to show you what you could potentially do with the leftover pieces that you have to be able to either create another masculine card just like this one, but you could also create a more feminine card with the back side of that designer series paper as well. So super, super cute there. And again, I used a little something to brighten your day. You'll notice that with that greeting being more up and down, then I just turned it sideways. So rather than having it side to side this way, I have it going up and down on this one to fit that greeting. And then I also added some bling to this one since it's our feminine one. I didn't feel like iridescent rhinestones went well with the masculine look there. Oh, Karen, I love it. A little wiggle waggle. Yeah, isn't that the correct term for that? Okay, so I'm just going to bring in all of these cards so that you can see them again with their coordinating envelopes. I hope that if you stamped along with me that you enjoyed it, you had fun, learned a little bit. Whether you stamped with me or not, though, I hope that you learned a few little tips and tricks and had fun and fell in love with trying to show like the envelopes and everything. And I don't think there's enough view space for all of that. But yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope that you fell in love with the Rainbows and Sunshine designer series paper, the stamp set, the dies, and all of that. Don't forget it is celebration right now. So every $50 that you spend, you get a free celebration item, which is always super exciting to get those things off your wish list, to stock up on the tools that you need, or different things like that. Let me pull back in. Like I said, all of the kits did sell out this month, so I don't have any kits left, but you can still get the PDF tutorial with that instant download by going to etsy.com/shop/Laura's Stamp Pad. You can also get the PDF tutorial for the last class that I did in December, which was the Eden's Garden online class. And of course, you can always watch that on my YouTube channel and here on Facebook as it is still listed there. And of course, you can always watch it for free. So feel free to share this video with all of your friends. And of course, like I said, you can get the measurements and everything, step-by-step instructions on that PDF tutorial download. The February class, I think I picked a date, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's the second Friday of the month. I want to say the 10th, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And it will be using the Heart and Home suite. So the Heart and Home suite is what the next class will be on. And I've already had suggestions for the one for March, which is going to be the On the Horizon. And of course, those are subject to change just in case anything happens with Stampin' Up's inventory. And I don't want to do one of them that you guys aren't able to purchase the stamp set and dies for. So as long as everything continues to go well with both of those, that will be what is scheduled for that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I know it is getting late for some of you guys. Last time it was like right on an hour and a half, but we had a tornado that was pushing us. So this time it just went a little bit over. Then that, actually, wait, it was 8:30. It was just an hour. This one is almost an hour and a half. So yeah, last time it was just an hour long and this one's much longer. But I hope you guys all had fun. Let me just check out my comments to see. I'm glad you loved them, Colleen. Good night, Cindy. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you back here next week. Love, hugs, and prayers to all of you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay warm. Bye.